Domnilor, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have the joint press statements of Minister Bogdan Aurescu and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of European Affairs, Mr. Ivan Korčok. Dear Minister, dear Ivan, welcome once again to Bucharest. I am very happy that you are visiting Romania, and it is actually your first visit since you became the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of European Affairs. Today we had very substantial discussions, very good discussions, because the relationship between Romania and the Slovak Republic is an excellent relationship. We have many opportunities, many construction elements about which we've talked today. Beyond the historical connection, the very close friendship that unites us, we have a frequent and consistent dialogue at high level and at working level. The Prime Minister of Romania and the Prime Minister of Slovakia had recently a very good phone conversation, and you've just met the first Prime Minister of Romania, and I hope that the dialogue will intensify even more in the near future. From the beginning, I would like to express Romania's gratitude to the central and local Slovak authorities and to the Slovak people for the exemplary way in which the Slovak Party honors the memory of the Romanian soldiers who fought to free the Slovak territory during the Second World War. During our meeting, we tackled the status of the bilateral relations, but also a set of topics on current topics on the European, international and security agenda. We also expressed the conviction that in terms of our economic relations, we will intensify the commercial relationship. In 2019, we had a record level of 3.4 billion euro in bilateral trade. Last year, in spite of the pandemic that affected to a certain extent our economic relationship, we had almost 3 billion euro trade, which is very important. We've talked about the way in which we can increase our bilateral cooperation, which is very good, at sectoral level in the field of education, labor, social affairs, internal affairs, and defense. I'm convinced that we can continue to find new opportunities to develop and to have common projects. It is my pleasure to see that the protection Romania has granted to the national minorities, including those that belong to the Slovak minority in Romania, is reflected in the good integration of the Slovak people in the Romanian community, and this minority represents a binder between the two states. I salute at the same time the very good integration of the Romanian citizens who lived in Slovakia. I've discussed with the minister also about the effects of the pandemic crisis, about the unprecedented challenges for the entire world, but also for the economies and the society, our economies and societies. And this context shows the importance of the close cooperation at European level, and it is very important to have a coordinated effort, and which we have in obtaining and delivering vaccines, because without a coordinated effort from the European Commission, for sure things would have been worse in terms of the health of our populations. We will discuss also other topics during our meetings. We will discuss some of them, like the importance of the 3C initiatives, which is a very important regional platform that both states participate to, and where Romania wants to promote strategic interconnection projects like Constanța-Gdansk railway or Via Carpathia, which involves both countries, Romania and Slovakia. We've discussed and will also continue to discuss our economy recovery with the support of the European Union, and I refer to the multi-annual financial framework and recovery plan. We've discussed about issues related to the conference on the future of Europe, which is a very good opportunity to capitalize on the lesson learned during this pandemic, a very good opportunity to have applied debates with the European citizens in order to find solutions for a better integration, in order to bring the Union closer to the citizen and to provide the welfare and the security that the European citizens need. We've also tackled issues related to our neighborhood. I am very interested in what the minister will tell us about his tour in the Western Balkans, because Romania as well as Slovakia are countries that support these countries, support the expansion of the European Union, the perspective of the Western Balkans, which is the solid option for peace, for stability, for long-term welfare in the region and on the continent, of course. Also, we've mentioned the challenges in the eastern neighborhood, especially those referring to the Republic of Moldova, and we reiterated our support for the efforts of the new president of the Republic of Moldova for a democratic and pro-European reform. We also talked about the relationship with Russia. Actually, in a few days, on the 22nd February in Brussels, we will talk about the relationships between the European Union and Russia. And with this opportunity, we will discuss about the entire context that was created recently in the relationship between EU and Russia. As you know, Romania has condemned the arrest of the political opponent Alexei Navalny when he came back to Russia, and we couldn't help to see that the way in which the visit of the High Representative for Political and Security Affairs, Mr. Borrell, was prepared, and the way in which the press conference that followed the discussions in Moscow was organized, and also the interaction of the diplomats. All this shows that Russia is more involved in confronting the European Union than in being open, in having a position of openness. And we will tackle all these aspects during our discussions on Monday in order to draw the conclusions, the right conclusions, and to take the necessary measures. Also, we'll discuss during our working lunch about the transatlantic relations. Romania and Slovakia are states that support a powerful and strong such a relationship, especially with the new administration in Washington, which wants not only to repair the things that have been deteriorated in the recent years, but also to consolidate and deepen the transatlantic relationship, because we have only one community of values on the two shores of the Atlantic, which is very important for the security and prosperity, our prosperity and security. There are many other topics that we have on our agenda, and we will discuss. A last element that I would like to mention. Well, in our discussion, we've also mentioned the restrictive measures that have been recently approved on the borders by the German authorities and which affected recently, especially the transporters, especially the Romanian transporters. And I would like to inform you that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has taken some measures bilaterally with the Embassy of Germany in Bucharest, and also the Embassy of Romania to Berlin has contacted the German authorities to find solutions to remedy these blockages. We've also lobbied with the European Commission, and I can inform you that the Embassy of Romania in Prague is in dialogue with the Czech authorities to find solution to have a smoother traffic on the border with Germany. Our missions in Berlin and Prague are ready to provide consular support for those who need. I would like to thank once again the Minister for his openness with regards to all the issues on our agenda. Once again, it was an excellent discussion, and we will continue in the next couple of hours to discuss them. Mr. Minister, dear Ivan, you have the floor.
Vă mulțumim. Minister Korčok, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, my dear colleague, Minister, dear Bogdan. First of all, many thanks for having me here today in Bucharest and for hosting me. I am very pleased that I finally made it to come in person to Bucharest. We have planned my visit at earlier stage, but it was not possible because of pandemic situation. But I'm pleased I'm here today in spite of the fact that the pandemic situation, unfortunately, in Slovakia has further worsened. So we are struggling with that. We have a very high number of people who are hospitalized. We still cannot break the curve and the increasing number of those who are infected. The only solution that we see in Slovakia is a combination of lockdown and limitations to our public life, and we hope a speedy vaccination. I agree entirely with what my colleague has said, that this is an important moment for Europe because through collective effort and our ability to acquire and order and provide a safe vaccine, I think we will find finally a successful exit of this pandemic, which has been the worst threat that humankind has experienced since the last 100 years. I'm very glad that I'm here today to confirm excellent bilateral relations between Romania and Slovakia. I subscribe to everything what Bogdan has said. Two, I'd like to say that this closeness is based also on historical, cultural ties, important events from our history. Romania enjoys a high reputation and positive sentiment in Slovakia because it was Romanian troops, 240,000 of them, who have had a substantial share and contribution to liberating territory of Slovakia during the Second World War, and 10,000 of Romanians have lost their lives when liberating Slovakia. That will not be forgotten. Two, in 1968, which is a gloomy part of our history, Romania has not participated in the invasion of Warsaw Pact troops, and we thank you so much also for agreeing to install a statute of a leader of 1968, a famous Alexander Dubček. That all together not only is an evidence for good political cooperation, but those are the signs of once again positive sentiment between our countries. Indeed, we are members in the EU. We cooperate on a lot of issues. In addition, we are allies within NATO. I find this dimension of our bilateral relations extremely important. I have confirmed and reiterated when I met earlier with your Prime Minister as well, Slovak support for Romania's accession to the Schengen area. It's long overdue because it's been, for many years that you fulfilled all criteria for that, and I call on all to finally agree on accession of Romania to Schengen area, which would strengthen, I believe, the Schengen area. And two, we support Romania's membership bid in OECD. Second point in our bilateral relations that I wanted to underscore is our gratitude for the support that you are extending to our minority living here in Romania. those are people which are the vivid and living ties between Slovakia. Those are loyal citizens, but you are a government which can serve as a really positive example for many in the region, how cultural identity of a minority should be promoted. Thank you for that. Economic cooperation figures have been mentioned. More than 3 billion trade turnout between Romania and Slovakia. You are the most important partner in Southeast Europe for Slovakia, but there are other opportunities which we would like to explore, going beyond the traditional economic cooperation. We have a very vibrant startup environment in the area of digital innovation. Let's get those entrepreneurs together. The best thing how we demonstrate good relationship if we help create jobs on both sides. So that's very good. Two, we have started our conversation, and we will continue over lunch with my colleague discussing important international issues. Indeed, I consider it a very important that we will have an extensive debate about relationship between EU and Russia at the upcoming Foreign Affairs Council. It is long overdue that we not only reflect upon recent visit that was mentioned here, but we look from a strategic perspective what we as a European Union want to do in order to have relationship with Russia, which, whether we like it or not, has experienced a negative developments over recent years. Two, I want to say that I don't think that European Union can be, in a way, blamed for wanting a confrontation with Russia. No, we are responding to the actions that unfortunately have contributed, actions of Russia that have contributed in recent years to the worsening of this situation. Here I namely have in mind their annexation of Crimea and actions in the east of Ukraine. I'm looking forward to having an exchange about transatlantic relations. Indeed, Romania and Slovakia, we are staunch supporters of transatlantic relations. I do see a positive momentum coming now with the new American administration, but we need to strengthen dialogue. We need to, on European side, identify the areas where we can strengthen transatlantic relations and make it fit for the future. Last but not least, I want to mention the European agenda, and here specifically our interest in exchanging our views, how we will participate in the conference on future of Europe. It should have been launched already, but I think now it is announced for May 9 that should be opened, because this debate is also long overdue. We've promised, I remind us all, in 2016, right after the British referendum, that we will come up with an offer to our citizens, an offer how we believe European Union should look like in the future. We cannot further postpone that debate. I'm looking forward to continuing our discussion, our cooperation. I'm inviting my colleague and friend Bogdan to visit Slovakia. I hope at not a very distant future, but pandemia will be overcome soon, I'm certain. Thank you.
Ministers, thank you for your statements. Doamnelor și domnilor, declarațiile de presă s-au încheiat. Vă mulțumim pentru prezență.
For your presence, these press statements are over now.